Hey guys, Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so earlier today, the Extreme Z area was finally announced for the STR LR FRIEZA. Obviously Goku got his a little while back on JP. Still hasn't come to global yet, but the whole point of this video is essentially about how global players can begin their preparations right now. Some of you might not have as much to do as others. It kind of depends how dedicated you are to farming free-to-play units. So obviously if you are free-to-play or you don't spend a lot on the game, you probably do farm most of the free-to-play units. Maybe if you're more of a whale, you don't bother so much. I know I used to not really mess around with free-to-play units too much, but I've always pretty much had the philosophy of whenever these new events come out with a farmable free-to-play unit, I farm them up, I farm up the extra copies to open their paths, and then I just leave them at 0% sat in my box. And Extreme Z areas has made it so that that is a very good idea, because you never know which old units are going to be used. So for FRIEZA's Extreme Z area, you are forced to use these specific 6 characters. So just like the Goku one, I know because it isn't on global yet, you guys might not know all the information, so I am going to cover that very briefly in a minute. Just like the Goku one, you have to use these 6 units, and they all have to be EZA'd and rainbowed. So obviously some of these units don't even have their EZAs on global yet, but the whole point of this video is essentially so that we can prepare for this to come. So one of the units who I think threw people off when they first saw this art was this Bardock, because he is the AGL Great Ape Bardock. Yeah, the last picture is just a bunch of Japanese. He's an AGL Great Ape Bardock. He's the farmable one from the Bardock event, who just comes as like an SR base Bardock and then awakens into Bardock Great Ape. And as you can see, the other thing that was announced in the news is that he is getting not only the TUR Awakening, but then also an Extreme Z area of his own, which I believe at the time of recording this, we don't have the information for that just yet. So let me flick over to the game and show you guys what the team looks like currently for global. Okay, so this is the team as it looks in my box right now. Obviously, we have the LR Goku, does not have his EZA yet. We'll cover that in a minute because his one is very much the same structure as this. This is the Ape Bardock as he appears now on Global. This is the farmable one for those of you who don't recognize him. He'll be getting a TUR and then an EZA, basically all as part of this event, which is cool. Then we have the Kaioken Goku, who gets an EZA alongside the Slug at some point. That's probably coming fairly soon for Global, I would think. And then we have the Kid Gohan and the Piccolo. They've been around for quite a long time now and don't really see much use. And then the Krillin, I should have mentioned before, the Krillin art was new and kind of threw people off. But thanks to the translation, shout out to Talon and Garesh. I think they both posted them around about the same time. But this is the STR Krillin from the Barbershop. And he's going to be getting an awakening and then obviously an EZA as well. He's going to awaken with medals from a story event. And then apparently he's going to EZA using these medals that were used to awaken the like Barbershop 70% leaders. So I don't even know how many, so I might as well just go ahead and buy the one for today. But yeah, so this is the team that you have to use. Obviously not ready to go just yet, but Krillin is from the Barbershop, so you can buy copies of him. The great thing about this is I didn't have a single copy of him, and I went in and bought the 5 copies so I could open all of his paths, and then I bought a 6th copy so I could have another one trained up ready to be SA5, ready for when he gets his EZA. And he does have a farmable super attack. Now the Prime Battle Krillin event, it does use a bit too much stamina for the drop rate, and obviously it doesn't have a bonus category. But if you go into the key section, obviously this is going to vary for different people based on how many keys you have. I am not somebody who typically uses a lot of story keys. So when I started my farm earlier, I had well over 100. And yeah, this Bio Broly story event has a farmable SR Krillin on stage 4. He doesn't awaken into UR, so unfortunately you can't get the 100% chance to raise the SA, but you can just farm up a bunch of copies, feed them in, hope that you don't get terrible RNG, of course, and then, yeah, you can be ready to go with Krillin SA10 and the spare copy SA5. And because, of course, the great thing is, with link leveling being one of the only real things to do on Global for a little while, and people obviously very excited to get a lot of their units to full link level 10, by playing that stage over and over again, you end up with a lot of incredible gems, because bear in mind, each copy of Krillin that you can buy from the barbershop is 300 gems each. And I bought 6 copies of him earlier and still have nearly 3,500 gems. So this is the team that you have to take on. Now, I will talk very briefly about the Goku. I'll do a video again when it's closer to coming out for Global, just to go over it in more detail. But his event works exactly the same way, where this is the team that you have to use in order to Dokkan Awaken him. Zamasu isn't actually the best leader. I just literally threw on the units in the order that they list them on the wiki page. But of course, all of these are free-to-play units as well. Only the Raditz and the Android 13, oh, and technically Zamasu Goku, have their EZAs yet. So, like these two, the Lord Slug and Frieza, they don't even have their TUR Awakenings yet. But they both get TUR Awakenings and EZAs basically at the same time during the celebration, whenever they're going to choose to drop them for Global. Because I believe if we followed the timeline of JP exactly, we should already have the Frieza and the Cooler Awakenings and EZAs. Obviously, Cooler is already awakened to TUR, but he just doesn't have an EZA. Whereas this Frieza, he actually becomes an insanely good unit, like definitely worthy of being on even pay-to-play level teams. As long as you're fighting a Goku family unit, he becomes an insane tank, and is just a really, really good unit. So this is the team that you're going to have to use for Goku. Obviously, this event is going to come out first, because we need to actually EZA the Goku so that he can then be the leader for this team for the Frieza event. So make sure, if you haven't got all of these guys, we just got Raditz's EZA. The event is still up at the time of recording. I did a video discussing that in a bit more detail. Obviously, for like the Slug and the actually, Slug's the only other story character, so when Slug gets his EZA, obviously the story event comes back, so that makes that a lot easier. Frieza is actually farmable from stage 1 of the full power Frieza Dokkan event. So at the moment, I don't think we're not in a celebration where all Dokkan events are open at the moment. I believe it's been I haven't had to do a Dokkan event since I awakened Gohan. So just having a quick look here. Yeah, it's just the tech one. So yeah, they're not all open, so I can't actually show the event unless we go into the key section. But I might as well bring it up here. It's probably going to be near the bottom because it's one of the very early Dokkan events. There we go. Evil Emperor of the Universe. So stage 1, that's where you farm the Frieza. He starts off in this form and then awakens with some of the medals to become the Frieza that you see on the team here. And then of course he'll get his awakening. Android 13, they made him much easier to farm. I did do a video about that as well, so you can search for it on the channel if you haven't seen that yet. They made it a lot easier to farm him up, and you can get a couple of extra copies from the barbershop as well. And then the AGL Cooler is all from the barbershop. So all of these units are freely available as well. So if we switch back over to the wiki, I don't think there's any other information that I missed. So this is the Goku EZA. Wow, it came out in July in JP. It was around the time of the 2000 days, and I saw, shout out to my boy JCV Goku, he posted a screenshot the other day. He's been playing Global, I think, since the very beginning, if not like the first couple of days, and he's at 1900 days login. So we are at most, I guess, like 3 months away from 2000 days, which is when the STR Spirit Bomb Goku gets his EZA. Most people are not going to be able to get that, of course. But yeah, this came out around about the same time. So, yeah, should hopefully come to Global very soon. But yeah, these are all the units. This is the awakening for the Slug, and then the awakening for the Frieza. Like I say, the Frieza becomes incredibly good. He's got a fairly decent attack and defense buff anyway. But then he guards all attacks and gives allies key and attack and defense. when there is a Goku family category ally, and then that includes this as well, because when he's guarding, which he will be doing against the Goku family enemy, he gets 50% damage reduction. So I believe the Wicked Bloodline stage of Super Battle Road, which should be coming in the next lot of category stages that come to Global, the Wicked Bloodline stage, you fight a Goku family enemy on, I think, pretty much every stage. So he's really, really good for that. And obviously he's going to be super good for this Goku EZA, because of course you're fighting Goku. So, and then this is the awakening for the Lord Slug with his EZA. He becomes a pretty solid unit, not super great, but obviously he is I think the best base slug, because the other one has the giant form thing prefix after his name. So yeah, he's not too bad. So overall, the main point to take away, I think, from this video is that you guys should be trying to farm the free-to-play units all the time whenever you can, even if you're not going to use them. Because if we take a quick look, have I ever used Slug in a video? I think I have. Yeah, oh, well, no, I've not put many orbs in him, but all his paths are open. The only thing I will say, because we have the knowledge of these units on JP, we don't know what Krillin's Awakening is actually going to do. So, as you can see, I filled out all of his hidden potential except for his star abilities, because we don't know what he's going to do after his awakening. And then I did the same thing for Bardock as well, because you don't want to rainbow him now based on what his abilities and stuff are, and then we find out after his EZA he becomes incredibly good with a specific type of build which you didn't go for. So I would recommend not filling those out, because let's be honest, you're probably not going to use them before this event comes out anyway. So I would recommend that just in case. I mean, obviously they're free to play units, so it's a lot easier to just farm up an extra copy to then fix the mistakes if you make mistakes in their hidden potential system. But you do still have to spend the orbs, and you don't get those back, so I think it's worth waiting. But obviously I will leave that decision up to you guys. So these are the free to play units that you should be focusing on. I guess these ones probably first, so that you can actually do the Goku EZA once it drops, and then start focusing on these ones. But as I say, and as I've been doing today, there's no reason why you can't start getting prepared straight away and have everything basically ready to go, because